of this particular Sentinel and all, right? Right. So it is all about, when we start talking about a SIEM technologies. So there are hundreds of SIEM technologies available in the market, and out of that, you know, very few got, named after, it become very famous because of its, legacy as well as its, proven technology. Similar to that, it comes with respect to that area itself. So when we had a, you know, oh, just a minute. Let's see. I will open up my door. Yeah. So if you see the legacy, of course, the Microsoft has that fame that we have. I mean, that Microsoft used to always show the variety of products as their, we can consider to be, they used to show something like, preparatory models like OS. Whenever we call it OS, we call it as a Windows, not OS, right? Similar to that, whenever we talk about an office, we always talk about MS Word and all, because it becomes preparatory because of its legacy, proven technology, as well as the, they maintain the, the quality. Similar to that, when we start talking about the same technologies, when we start talking about a SIEM technology, see, the technologies has so many products and all, but however, when you see the SIEM technologies, the, when we start talking about on premises is none other than at your, office or an organization. There are so many legacy experts are there, like we can consider to be a Splunk, QRadar, and when we talk about Micro Focus, or we can say Datadog, ArcSight, right? So these are the very famous product, or we can consider to be Logarithm, right? Logarithm and all. So these tools, they shown their proven technology, and they are very famous in on-premises environment. Similar to that, see, there was a after, when we start talking about after coming up of this particular cloud, after, birth of this cloud, and now it is getting, grown, dynamically, and it's very fast, as I can say. It has its own, way of approach towards the growth. It's doubled in minutes. So the requirement of cloud security, become vital nowadays. And there is no proven technology for cloud security. The first product bring in the market is by Microsoft. Though the above technologies are providing the security in the cloud on the name is of SaaS solution, like QRadar is providing, Splunk is providing in the cloud, but they are not proven, and they have not actually meant for this particular purpose. First, the Microsoft bring up the only cloud solution for SIEM and SOAR. We can consider to be the first cloud native technology. We consider to be a first cloud native technology with respect to SIEM plus SOAR. Earlier, the concept of SIEM plus SOAR was not there. The only concept of SIEM was there. Okay. So whatever you are listening, the Splunk, QRadar, Datadog, Offset, Logarithm, all these are SIEM solutions. Of course, they have their own SOAR solution, which is another product. The solution is the first product we can consider to be a separate entity for on-premises. However, if you want to add on, you can add on by purchasing the licenses. So the Microsoft bring up a SaaS solution, in the in their cloud, that is Microsoft Cloud, that we call present. Earlier we call it as something like Azure Cloud. Okay, Azure Cloud. So the first cloud native simplest SOAP technologies, which is a combination of two technologies in a one licenses. So you can't take SIMs only SIM solutions. You can't take only source solutions of Microsoft Sentinel. Okay. So this is scaled for exclusively this particular cloud platform is scaled for exclusively Azure Cloud. However, you can integrate third-party cloud, third-party cloud. You can integrate, I can say, on-premises, on-premises, and of course the Microsoft Cloud, Microsoft Cloud. Okay, so you can set up and do detect, investigate, and respond your security across the enterprises. The best part of this particular SaaS is it is not depending on hardware entity. So when we start talking about an hardware entity, you don't require to think of the hardware scalability. You don't require to think of a hardware scalability. The first is something like hardware scalability is flexible. It is totally flexible and 100% real. So it is flexible. Why it is flexible? Because it is hosted on your cloud platform, and Azure is claiming that 99.999% of availability. So the reason behind it, and it is flexible. It is flexible. Why it is flexible? Because there is no hardware standard designed for this particular Sentinel. It is only license based. It's not hardware based, license based. What charge that you want to pay, and according to that, the logs will be collected and stored. And secondly, there is no standard of setting of any applications over here. Like there is no database, as this has no database. It works on the principle of on-the-go database. Okay. It works on the principle of on-the-go database, where we can consider to be the Sentinel is all about no hardware, no hardware, no software. I mean, exclusively database, no software, only SaaS, only SaaS. So they are providing SaaS as a service, and you don't know where the hardware, you don't know where the software and what kind of software you are using. You know the technologies, that is a different, but you don't know what software they are using behind it. Like what database they are using. They claim it is a law. They claim they call it as a law, but they don't show on the background whether it is storing on MS SQL or a MySQL or a MongoDB or any other kind of such database. We don't know what's that, but it's getting stored in a one kind of storage. I mean, one kind of collection area called law. What is this law? Law is something known as log analytics workspace. Right? Log analytics workspace, where all your logs will be get stored. It is a collection area. It is simply we call it as this is a collection area. That's it. Now we'll discuss what is actually the Sentinel. If you see what is a Sentinel, what is Sentinel? Can anyone have a meaning? What is the meaning of Sentinel? Anyone?
It comes with security like centralized security, sophisticated like that.
Okay. Sentinel means actually watchman. Sentinel is the meaning of a watchman or a god. This is actually the meaning of a sentinel. Okay. So you start with this one. Sentinel is a traditionally the meaning of sentinel is something like a guarding or a watchman. You can say who continuously whistle those who whistle blown, right? So how many of you know there's so many Nepalis used to work in India as a watchmen overnight for entire societies, right? They used to go along with a stick and saying that yes, we used to listen, right? All is well, something like we used to even see so many movies also, they claim. So he is the same guy. The sentinel is something like is a watchman who actually detect any intrusion or a suspicious activity. He is trying to identify a danger. That is what is the scope of a sentinel's one. He identifies a danger. He never reacts. He monitor. He detects. Okay. Sentinel is the one who monitor and detects. Okay. Further added, if he is having that power to respond, he can respond. Of course, if it is within his permissibility, he will stop. Otherwise, he will call all the one, like the response team. So the Sentinel, have you ever listened Sentinel in any other location, in any other products? Sentinel has many, you can say application. So Sentinel is not only the Microsoft use. I mean, this particular term is not only used by the Microsoft. There are so many other companies are also using this particular word. And even there is a service itself. It is there. It's called Sentinel service. Okay. So we have Sentinel as service. We have one product called EDR and one SIEM product called SIEM. You must know because people get confused. Service, which is generally we used to see in our most of the SIEM solution. So Sentinel is a service, is a part and parcel of your SIEM solution, which identifies like as a watchman duty they do. There is a one EDR solution called Sentinel One. If you see, this is a separate organization. Sentinel One itself is an organization which provides an EDR solution. The finally what we are talking about is something like the first one is something known as Azure Sentinel. This is the former name, which is the SIEM solution. Now it has changed as a Microsoft Sentinel. And even this has been now changed as Microsoft SDR. It's a combination of everything. It's Microsoft XDR. Okay. So this is how it got evolved. So we have, when you see the word called Sentinel, don't think that Sentinel is only Microsoft. Sentinel is a service, Sentinel is Sentinel One exclusively. When you see, I'll show you that one also. When you click on Sentinel One, Sentinel, sorry. Sentinel One. Let's see, this is the one. We call it as a This is a Sentinel organization which is considered to be a EDR product. Majorly we consider as a AI EDR, and it's also its own Sentinel one SIEM. So that what is EDR and EDR solution. For their EDR, there's a it is very Sentinel one. The other one is Microsoft Sentinel. This is Microsoft Sentinel. This is Microsoft Sentinel. Okay. So we have multiple, areas of Sentinel names, and there is Sentinel service also there. Sentinel service. Okay, it is not a see. I'll show you. I'll that I will show in tomorrow session because I need to open my one of the VM where I can show you that. Okay, no worry. Right. So we have a service in the name of Sentinel. We have Sentinel one is the EDR, when the other product is Microsoft Sentinel. Okay. So don't get confused with regarding this. Okay. Now the question is why the Sentinel? Why the Sentinel? Now question is again why the Sentinel? As we are growing a lot towards cloud, cloud booming, right? We call it as a clouding. Now the technology is all about clouding, getting PaaS, SaaS, and IaaS technologies into the world. People are more, they don't want to take any stress towards the management of hardware, management of power, management of database, anything. They want everything on a fingertips. And they don't want to take any risk of security. So Microsoft brings up its own cloud solution to safeguard mainly the Sentinel comes primarily to safeguard Azure products. Okay, this is the primary activity. So let's say if you are connected with any Azure product or a Microsoft products, the security is 100%. See, I'm going at the low level because these data you will not get anywhere. This data you will not get anywhere. Now, as a L3 and L4, whatever, if you are working at a L3 and a higher level, you require this information because why the Sentinel at this level? So it is more important. For L1 and L2, they don't require this information, but if they have, it is an add-on advantages. Okay. So Sentinel, if it is a Microsoft Sentinel, Azure products primary focus and the effectiveness 100%. So they do resolve 100% of the strategy. They put the maximum efforts to get. I cannot say 100%, we can say 99% because there is no 100% safeguard, right? It is not possible. So when you bring out with your other cloud platform, like cloud platforms,
For
like
pricing, I have a question here.
we are not at all talking about price. Okay, no worries. If you have such kind of doubt, I will surely handle that at the end of the session. I will give you 5 minutes of special dedicated for any such kind of questions. No worry. But
Okay.
right now we'll discuss. Okay. Cloud platforms. Let's say you can take AWS or GCP. When you start talking about safeguarding other cloud platforms like AWS, GCP, it affects still 85%. It affects 85%. It's very good standard. So when you bring up your on-premises, on-premises global solution, like what is the meaning of on-premises global solutions? Like it is product is known to everyone. It is an international brand. Again, the safeguarding is up to 85%. On-premises, on-premises OEM applications, OEM applications. The safeguard is up to 70%. On-premises custom applications. It is giving up to 65% of the safeguards. So this is the standards of your Microsoft Sentinel. So when you are starting with when you are starting with 1 minute. When you are starting with your primary scope and primary visibility to secondary scope and secondary visibility, it's still on an average of 80% safeguarding. So, which is the highest standard by any other cloud solution. So you have sent Google Chronicle, AWS Monitor. So with respect to that, it is giving quite high standards with accuracy of 80%. Okay. So this is one of the most important area. Okay.
So this percentage is about the safeguarding against the malware, correct?
Not only see, malware is a see, there are lot many attacks. It includes your exploitations, your attacks, your malware ingestions, you have behaviors, you can say, I can say, what else? Your, your scanning, everything. See, when you see the attack patterns, there are total 14 stages of attack standards in a one surface that is called as MITRE attack surface, right? You can say, so when the MITRE attack surface, when you see the MITRE attack surface, I'll do that. Wait. So there is something called RR. We call it as a recon, reconnaissance, and resource development. Okay. So recon includes your scanning, both active and passive scanning, and there are two things is something like horizontal and vertical scanning. So for an organization, if I want to target one organization, I will do a passive scan first, which generally don't directly connected to scan. Then there is something called active scan. I will touch the digital parts of that particular organization. Then I will focus a larger aspects. I will focus a pinpoint based scanning and identify the loopholes. Once I identify, so this is also an attack. I cannot consider this is just a scanning. This is also considered to be an attack because is getting some information out by doing some active and passive or a horizontal or vertical scanning. He is getting somewhere profit, right? He's getting some weakness of your activity, so which is directly impacts your I can say, which is considered to be a one of the most these things, right? I will always say when there is a someone is coming and doing some activity, or we can consider to be you know getting profited by you from you is considered to be an attack, of course. Right? Then he will develop accordingly as per the loophole. He will develop some, as you said, a malware. It may be a malware. It may be a phishing mail. It may be a MITM plan. It may be, sniffing. Anything. Just I'm giving an examples. Malware, phishing, MITM, sniffing, or let's say that he is making to destroy your system like DOS based attacks. They are planning, denial of service. He want to some brute force so that your systems get hanged, right? He wanna, collect the information from your area, like exfiltration. See, all these are, variety of different attacks. He will develop all these. And once he develop, he wanna do something like, how he can implement all those things. So he requires something, right? So there are some stages, right? There are another, this is known as pre-attack methodology. So the person is not yet attacked. He scanned, he developed the system. He scanned and he developed the system. Now he want to initiate. We call it as initiate, execution, persistence, privilege escalations. Then this, this defense evasion, credential C, the DCDL, we call as, uh, defense evasion, credential management, and, we can say discovery, lateral movement. Then we can say command and control, exfiltration, and we can say impact of services. One more C is there, that is collection. Yeah, this is collection, command and control, execution, and impact of services. Total 12 plus 2, total 14 stages. So attacker might have any standard of pay. He's getting, 1% of the information or 10% of the information, it doesn't matter. So we require to be safeguard at every level. That may be a resource level, that may be at destroying level. Okay, right. So this threat landscape will be managed by your Sentinel. The first one is something like the threat management will be managed by your Sentinel. Got it? So further, why Sentinel? We actually, sorry, I dragged on to some other area. We dragged down into some other area. Let's talk about why Sentinel? Why Sentinel? As I said, it is a brand, first of all, by Microsoft. It can protect, it can monitor. The key element is SIEM and SOC. Right? The key element is SIEM and SOC. And the second is, it is modern cloud aligned. As I said, for exclusively for cloud, it is something like 92% success rate is there. So unlike traditional SIEM solutions, Microsoft service is a cloud enabled digital watchdog. It can fits to the, you can say modern image, or we can say modern world, right? It is distinct and memorable. It is easy to remember. See, the product becomes very famous with the branding itself. So the brand called Azure and Microsoft, of course, they tied up with that. It has its own way of approach. So these are some reasons that begin behind your success rate, right? So that's why your so that's why Microsoft Sentinel becomes very famous. Microsoft Sentinel becomes very famous, and now the trendy product in the market. Now let's talk about some features. So the key features of this particular Sentinel, as we know, it's a cloud native SIEM. It is fully scalable, power packed system by Azure, running with no on-premises infrastructure. As I said, there is no on-premises, it's exclusively cloud. It can handle massive volume of logs, and it can handle massive volume of security. There is no hardware constraint. No means no. Okay. The second key feature is store capabilities. As I said, it has a capability of responding. It can do automate response because it has a capability to set up a logic books, or we call it as a playbooks, logic apps. So we can use Azure Logic App in the technology. By using that, we can create our playbooks to behave, to forward, to manage, to respond of various threats as well as various entities. So by doing all this, what happens? So we are reducing the manual workload and improves the response time. Improves the response time. The third is something like, real-time threat detection. The important is something like, real-time threat detection. Real-time threat detection. So by using AI, machine learning, and all other correlation capabilities on the basis of analytical rules, threat hunting rules, playbooks, and watch list, and threat intelligence. So it will analyze the data from various sources and identify the real-time threat identification. As soon as it identifies any threat, it will show the alerts on the basis of correlation, behavioral, and we can say AI and ML. So these are the basic, pillars for real-time threat detection. The fourth is its comprehensive data collection. Yes, you can collect the logs from collects the logs from users, devices, applications, infrastructure, which is on premises as well as cloud, what not. There are readily more than 450 different products that you can integrate into this particular solution. And also the custom one. You can integrate the custom logs too. And what are the other key features? You can create your workbooks and dashboards. The best part is you can create your workbooks. Now, what is workbook? What is a dashboard? Workbook and a dashboard. So dashboard is a group of workbooks. Workbook 1, 2, like. One dashboard may have multiple workbooks. One workbook is a key identifier. Whatever you want to identify, you can identify in this particular workbook. Right? Workbook is something like, you have a bag. Bag is a dashboard. Workbook is a notebook, which is in the you may have multiple notebooks in your bag, right? For when you go to a school and all, right? We have a bag. Bag is called a dashboard, and multiple notebooks are we call it as a workbooks. That's simple. And the best part is something like it has a capability of investigation tools. Investigation tools, like we call it as UEBA we have, that is user entity behavior analysis. We call it as behavior analytics. And timeline management for root cause analysis. The second, it supports and using, we can say, threat hunting by KQL. So we have an advanced hunting process by using Kusto query language, which is one of the most important aspect of entire your Sentinel, because without KQL you can't do anything. So if you want to play, you have to know this particular KQL. For the administration and all, for L3 level, you don't require that KQL at a higher standard, but to manage, to analyze, to do threat hunting, to do such kind of rule creation and all, you require to know the advanced KQL terminologies at your level. Okay, so we'll see some of the important KQL and all. Okay, no worries. Right? So this is what the key features. Any doubts so far?
Yes. So, what type of agent or configuration required on devices like laptop and desktop to ingest data in Sentinel?
See, okay, there is something called Azure Monitoring Agent. We call it as AMA in short form. This is the
Okay.
agent is generally used. This is the agent is generally used for both Windows and Linux to forward the logs from both on-premises as well as cloud. Okay. So if you want to install in your Windows or Linux, you have to just simply install this particular product in your Windows machine and the Linux machine. It will simply forward the logs to your well responsed data connector. There is something called data connector management. You don't worry about that. We will learn all those things. The integration process I will show you. And there is something called policy based integration. So you don't require all the time to install this agent. If it is a Azure cloud, it will automatically get installed. There is some feature is already available. If you push the policy, the machine will be already automatically installed with that particular agent. So that is what the capability of your Azure policy management. So that we will discuss, you don't worry. But anyway, the AMA is the agent is used for that. And
Okay.
I got in the chat box, there is a, how much Sentinel costs for 1 MB of data ingestion or a 1 GB of data ingestion. So again, it is, there are two types of data we have. One is called, we call it as, uh, basic data, one is called dynamic data. So dynamic data is a process data and basic data is a just collection data. So if you generally break down, it generally charges average of 2.5 dollars, sorry, 2.5 US dollars per GB. This is an average ingestion, okay? So if you take a higher standard, like if you purchase a 1 to 100 GB, it will go at this price. But as soon as you change the slot from 200 to 250 GB, it changes. It come down to 2.2 GB, some $2.2. Like if you are purchasing something like about 250 to let's say 1 TB of data ingestion, it gets down to $1.8, something like. So it will get reduced, and it also gets varied from region to region. So on an average, as you said, it costs you $0.0024 per MB. How much? If you see 0.25, if I make it into MB, it was something like $0.0025 per MB. This is an average charge they used to for a standard of 90 days data retention. How many days? 90 days data retention. Now, if you want to retain this for longer period, how now the question comes. That is, we'll see. No worry about that because we will see in those in a license management and the data retention policy. So we will see that. Don't worry.
Yeah, actually, whatever data is coming and Sentinel is monitoring that one. So everything depends on cost, correct? So that is why I was asking.
I did not understand. Could you please tell?
Whatever data is getting ingested, that is creating cost for the
Yeah,
company.
of
Okay,
course,
so
of course,
that
of course.
that's why I was asking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it. I got it. Hmm. That's not a problem. So I will just confirm that. Okay. No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So any other queries, guys? Yep. So that's all for the day. We'll have you know presentation based from tomorrow onwards. Presentation based explanation and all from tomorrow onwards. As I made everything, but I'm outside of the I'm not available at home, and this is not my a game rig where I do explain the things. So I have just a write board and one extended screen, but it's not my mission. Okay. So anyway, thank you so much. We'll since yesterday there's a huge rain and huge we can say a cyclone kind of stuff is going over here. So network issue and all. I just come out from that my home and I reached to one of my friend home and just taking the sessions for you guys. So be ready for tomorrow onwards. We'll have a very good and a very best sessions for that. And we'll have only first few days of theory, like another 2 or 3 days more, not more than that. Then we will start installing your, pro installations of your cloud and all. Okay. Okay, guys, then thank you so much for the day. If still you have any queries, just we can attend. Else we can close the session.
Can you draw the architecture means how Sentinel is connected with the
Those
suppose
things we will see.
previously, like in on-premise solution, there is such architectures are there. Okay, so this component is connected to this solution in this way. So that like that, if you can draw a architecture diagram of Sentinel with their components.
See, basically, it is very simple that it is on a 443 port, right? First of all, you must understand this works on a principle of 443. See, let's say you want to integrate something. Let's say this is your organization and you have some 10 machines and all the machines having a direct access to the internet, then you will simply install in your AMA agents over here, simply. So it will directly connected to your Azure portal without any issue. That's the standard procedure how the things happens. But let's say you don't want to disclose your these machines and you want to forward your one log. Then what you can say is something like you can create something like one only one area called collection area by using any means like third party application you are forwarding or syslog mechanism you are forwarding all the logs to this area. And from here, you are forwarding what by using syslog or AMA, you are forwarding to Azure portal. This is the one standard. Or there is a mechanism called API. There is a mechanism called syslog. There is a mechanism called sharing. So there are so many other methods are available. By using this mechanism, you can forward logs. But most of the things Azure is request to integrate your internal logs first. If you have Azure internal logs, like first integrate internal logs, but external logs must be included if that's considered to be a non-critical logs. I always recommend if it is a non-critical log, then only you better to forward those logs to your Azure. So there are so many other methods that we can see, but anyway, the standard procedure is using AMA, you can forward it to that. The log collection at one location, you can forward to that. What people generally adopt the second method. All the logs will be forwarded to one area, and from that, people used to forward to Sentinel. Okay.
Okay.
Now, with respect to architecture and all, you don't worry. It requires a lot much of time to explain the things. I will explain what is law, what is SAS, that particular Sentinel, how it works, and all. What are the pillars of this particular Azure Sentinel and all. So that I'm going to cover. Don't worry, because there are majorly four pillars of this. We can consider to be collect, detect, and we can consider to be something like investigate, and finally the respond. So it works on this principle called CDIR. CDIR principle. These are the four pillars of your Azure Sentinel. On this basis, it will collect the logs from various entities. Like purpose is to ingest various logs, like any digital estate, that may be cloud, on premises, or a hybrid environment, like sources like Office 365, Azure, AWS, firewalls, endpoints, identity systems, security solutions, data security solutions, whatever. So we have something known as native data connectors and custom data connectors, Azure Mondex, log and detect. There are different methods of collection agencies are there, and you have Microsoft Defender to collect the logs. So from that, we are collecting the logs to your area. And for the detection, we have another four methods again. One is known as built-in log analytic rules, that is analytical rules. The second is UEBA, that is user entity and behavior analysis. The third is something like Microsoft Threat Intelligence, that is called TIP solution. The fourth is something like machine learning, the anomaly detection, by using anomaly detection. And finally, investigates. The investigation has its own entities like incident timeline management, entity explore and visualization, how impact it creates and all, and advanced hunting by KQL, right? And finally, the respond. The respond again two types: automated ticketing, automatic noting, threat management. There's a standard threat container, threat content standards. There's automation. The second is called store capabilities, like using playbooks. We will create some response to the third party applications. So this is a small entity that I can consider to be, these are four pillars we can consider to be, a basic understanding of CDAR, but I'll go very deep into this. You don't worry. Okay. So this is all about your day one, that is Sentinel, what is Sentinel and all. In tomorrow's session, we'll discuss about the pillars in deep, and the architecture of Azure Sentinel, how you can use and all, and what are the different aspects. Again, we'll go technically deep into this particular Azure environment, especially the Sentinel, right? Okay, guys, thank you so much for the day. We'll meet in tomorrow's session.
Thank you.
Hi, Steven. How are you?
Good.
Good. So I'll become free and I'll call you in the evening, okay? So
Okay.
actually I have been with some emergency meetings since last 3 days. As you sent a message yesterday, I felt very happy that you have joined once again. But due to some important calls and all, I was unable to call you back and discuss regarding
Evening
this
we will
kind of
talk.
stuff.
No
Yeah,
issue.
I'll call you in the evening. Huh? Thank you. Bye bye. Bye guys. That's all for the day. Thank you so much.